music down a little bit more though. Like there. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, what's up, friends? It took me a little longer to go live than usual. Kinda. Because sometimes I don't even stream. But, we're working on game dev again today. And it's gonna be invisible strings. Yo, what's up, stream class? Gonna be working on invisible strings, which is my Westworld-ish powered by the apocalypse game that is meant to be Twitch integrated. So, like, I think today what we're gonna do is go back over what I already have and what I want to do with the game, just to remind myself and ourselves, and then get into, like, maybe working a little bit more with the basic moves, because I think from some of the ideas that I had last stream, there's some other basic moves that I'm gonna need, and then start figuring out, like, what do playbooks do, and do I really need them? So, let's get started. Oh, and I am currently in a voice chat that includes Gabe, who is doing some Diablo, like the Diablo event. So, yeah. Just so you know, we're gonna go off deafen, because poor Gabe is just sitting there alone in chat right now. Okay, hi Gabe. Not much, but you're on the stream now. I'm also getting a lot of boops. Hey! Not those boops. Wrong boops. Alright, so invisible strings. Like, general concept. You are the creatives behind a Westworld-esque, dollhousey type establishment. You have people being a loose term because it might be determined that you're actually using, like, some other workforce that are there to fulfill people's fantasies, which is gross and icky, but I kind of want to force you to explore it, to like look at those things and figure out, like, why is this so gross and icky? Why does this always go wrong? And usually it comes down to you're denying people humanity. But anyway, what's the game about? How do I reward players for doing that? I think I need to add a new thing that's kind of like this right here. Instead of how do I want to word this? How are the underlying themes of this game challenging the players' preconceived. Yeah. No. That's not how you. Sure. No, that looks wrong. Why? Preconceived notions. As a play. I think it's at its core Wow. Fundamental concept of these parks slash establishments is stealing the humanity and agency of another, reducing them to a commodity and plaything. I can't spell. I can't spell. Okay. Wow. Okay, there we go. I think, I mean, like, partly by very intentional, like, driven design, and partly just because that's the way that these things function. Alright, so by design and concept, high concept, players are forced to confront the idea of stealing and or holding hostage another's agents. Let's see. Kat says, I am always in favor of making people think about how they might dehumanize others, because they at least can't act like they're ignorant of that, even if they don't try to change their behavior. Yeah. And I think I want to add an end of session or like growing up type thing where you have to like confront some of the shit that you do as a player or as a player character in the game. Like maybe there's a GM move where like someone that came in as like a bright-eyed smiling tech, like you slowly see them just like losing everything until eventually they just up and quit. And when you have to give them their exit interview, they're like, I mean, I got into this because it was an exciting new field of research, blah blah blah, but now that I'm here and I'm actually like involved with all this, it fucking sucks. Like, basically be the dude from Westworld that gave Thandie Newton super god computer powers. Like, he realized that what he was doing was fucked up, but it paid the bills. But anyway. Alright, this take shape in, no, I'm not gonna say will. Shape in the form of player side growing up style moves. GM side moves involving PC departments. I'll just put an etc. because I don't know what else I could have. And I think I need something about like what about in the end? Aside from, you know, it not even mattering. So in the end, players of Folk believe reflected on their attitudes towards agency and grown from them. I feel like all of my games, like, they start off as like, oh man, what if like, hold on, I need to turn this down a little, just a little, like, tiny bit. There we go. I feel like all of my games start off like, yo, but what if, like, Westworld as a tabletop? Or like, what if Boardwalk Empire with magic? Like the Magicians plus Boardwalk Empire smushed together. And they all end up, alright, we're going to have a very serious discussion right now about racism. And I feel like it keeps happening every time. Which isn't a bad thing, but it's just a thing. It's a thing that's happening. Alright, so, design decisions that I need to make. Is there a GM turn? Yes. And now that I've decided on this, there's decidedly a GM turn. Alright, since I do want this to be Twitch integrated, with the Twitch chat integration, are the chat just guests? Are they natural disasters that occur? Are they ghosts in the code? Basically, what is the role of Twitch chat? No, what is the function of Twitch chat within the context of the game? Because I've seen other Twitch integrated RPGs like try to happen, but it'll usually be things that'll break the game, like, hey, you can donate money, and also they're usually tied to money. It's like, you can donate money and the party will get like health potions right when they need it. And it's kinda Hunger Gamesy, which is even more gross to me. But or you can work against the players, that's also an option. But for this, what I was striving for was more the way that, like, in business and marketing, like, you don't know how a group is actually going to react to a product that you put out. Like oh my god, there have been like sodas where they were heavily researched, and or even movies where they're like super heavily researched, or like, okay, now we had this ending, but because of our market research and our demographic testing, blah blah blah, this is the ending that's gonna work out best. And then like they release the DVD and it has like the original ending, and people are like, oh my god, this was so much better. And it's like, your research means nothing in the face of actual people. So yeah, I think that is the function of Twitch chat within this game. Twitch chat is your demographic, and the players can, and probably will, because hopefully they'll realize that that's what they're doing. Twitch chat is your audience, and also every bad thing that could happen. But yeah. Things that are true about the game. A part can either succeed or fail. It can be large, small, or between. And it can it must. I think it's... No, it can specialize in one vice or many. Yeah. So you can either be wide and shallow, or narrow and deep, basically. there's also definitely a game almost like Werewolf or Town of Salem where players have other aims than just making bank. Basically, I think you're going to state an agenda, and each playbook is going to have like agenda suggestions of things you want to accomplish with your game within your game in the park. So yeah. Other players may have other goals and aims than just making bank, just like any other role-playing game really, but the main idea for most groups is to get paid and then get everything else. And at its core, this game is about very fallible humans playing God and attempting to hide their failings long enough to make a little song. I actually don't know how to like write what I just said in words. You want to make a little song. Alright, touchstones, it's like Jurassic Park, but especially Jurassic World. Like, yeah, Jurassic Park was like, ooh, this is cool, archaeologists, yay! But Jurassic World, where they were like, yeah, you thought you liked Jurassic Park, well, meet Jurassic World, where we made the most dangerous dinosaur that you could ever imagine. That's what this game is. And then iRobot, which was just the thing to take from it is that they were like, yeah, we have these robots that make our lives super easy. And they know everything about us, and it's just a smartphone on legs. For TV, Westworld, obviously. That's like where this whole idea came from. Dollhouse, if you've seen it, it's along the same lines as Westworld, but in Dollhouse they use actual people and then technology to turn their brains into a hard drive, basically. Wipe it and put in the information needed for a job. So it's even more about very literally, you sign away your agency for a set number of years. And then they like put you up for the rest of your life and you've got like money saved up. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. I think I might need to rewatch Standalone Complex because I know there were themes from it that I wanted to bring in. I just cannot remember them to save my life. And then games like Soma, Black and White, Choice of Robots, Roller Coaster Tycoon, basically aside from Soma, Black and White, Choice of Robots, and Roller Coaster Tycoon are all about you trying to like run things and keep them running well. But I want you to try to run them as a collective, which is so much harder. Also, I should probably reload that and make sure, yeah, everything's running. Cool. Then everything's running there? Yeah. Yee. Move this over here. There we go. Had to organize my tabs. Role-playing games like Apocalypse World, Blades, Monster Hearts. This is becoming more inspired by Monster Hearts than I thought, so I'm just gonna like... Oh my god, I forgot this stupid doesn't let me just let me... Okay. Here we go. Control-C. We're gonna put this, like, here. There we go. Books, I need to read more. Just flat out, I need to read more. Because I don't read. Whoops. But Also, I haven't run into any books that I think have pulled off what I want to convey terribly well. Uh, Systems, ideas, and implementation. The whole Twitch integration thing, like, honestly, if you want to read up about it, the best thing to do would be to go to my Patreon and, like, read it there and ask me questions, because I don't know where, like, things are just stuck in my head and not actually coming through. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, player roles and responsibilities. Okay. So, players control the park as a trust-like group. They make the narratives and storylines, figure out what needs to be made for this and what can be reused, decide on how to market it, and then make rules on the quality of those efforts. Players can and probably should have secret agendas that they try to also fulfill while working together. Sometimes they will come into conflicts with their goals as a trust, and they should come into conflict with each other, especially as characters get their bits of spotlight. Uncovering the dark motivations of others is totally a secret agenda that someone can have. So you might have a very straightforward coder that realizes that all of these administrative people are just politically moving. And you're like, I just want to code. I want to be at the forefront of technology. That's it. And you figure the best way to do that is to make sure that none of these political machinations get in the way of you doing that. So, spoiler for Apocalypse World 2nd Edition from Roll20 Presents. So yeah, spoiler time. Something that got discussed in the post-show thing today was the idea that Apocalypse World doesn't ever help you make things better, per se. It helps you to get what you want. So I think that is the thing that I want to do. I want players to try getting what they want. Thanks, Kat. Alright, ideally the group has a coder / someone in, like, behavioral sciences, an artist / writer or creative, security / quality assurance. Like, those I think are 3 that will make things flow the most easily. And then, I mean, I think, like, say someone in administrative is still going to have the potential to either write or be somehow creative, or maybe do security. But basically, those are the 3, like, core potential, possibilities for Playbook. There are other playbooks, the board representative, who's balanced but not really good at anything, PR, who has special moves for getting people into your attraction and cleaning up messes, the financier, who I think is just going to have moves for, like, throwing money at their problems. So they can't code, but they can definitely just outsource the code, which is going to have its own complications. And I think that would also be a balanced playbook. In theory, any group should be capable of functioning with enough tugging it in the right directions. Each player runs a small or large, if they decide to go large, team that they head. A failure on one of their roles may not directly be their fault, but it's their responsibility. Like, if you are head of behavior you decide to go with the coder or the behavioral specialist. I think that's a better like name for that. So you decide to go with the behavioral specialist, and you have one person on your team that just like hates the idea of this park at its core. Oh, what's up, Cypher? How you doing? I oh oh geez, what was that? Yay! Thank you for hosting. Alright, so like if you're head of behavioral and you've got this one coder that's just like, fuck this park, fuck everything it's about, you are everything that is wrong with this world, I'm gonna fight you. Oh, Cypher, you should sleep, get some rest, like recuperate after the bullshit of today. I know, and I'm probably not helping with the music for either of you right now. And the worst, I don't know if you can even hear the music or if you just like occasionally hear like tap of like a hi-hat or a drum, something like that. I know it's 7:30, but like, okay, I mean, part of the reason that you can't hear the music is so I don't get muted, but yeah, like, even though it's 7:30, sometimes you gotta sleep when you gotta sleep. Or like, just lay in bed and read. That's also good. Like, read, I like putting on like, because I used to be super into League of Legends, I like putting on LCS, but at a really, or LCK at a really low volume. So I just hear the casters like talking. But it doesn't always work because this season everything is like, not a lot is happening, so you'll start drifting off to sleep, and then it's like everything happens all at once, all together, and it's like blah. It's awful. And everyone goes crazy because it's like, oh man, Infernal Drake just spawned. No one's ever gonna get Elder Drake, but what if someone tries to go for Elder Drake because they got 4 Infernal Drake spawns? Ugh. Anyway, okay. Alright, the teams are basically just player control NPCs that they can pull out as needed. Maybe they have traits that can... Oh! Basically, this last point here, because I realize that me pointing at my screen isn't gonna help any of you at all. This right here. But especially the having traits, basically any NPC might have like a plus or minus 1 tag. Alright, GM roles and responsibilities I'll figure out later. Gameplay flow. Control borrow from blades, players plan and do storyline setup like it's a gig, but they'll roll some things in this part like PR campaigns, story quality, code base quality, etc. Alternatively, this can be rolled. Oh, I want a flashback mechanic. Let me put this somewhere. Because I really like the flashback mechanic in Blades. Then I will define that whole deal later. Right after I italicize this. There we go. Where was I? Okay. something like stress or maybe like pressure. Eventually, I think if you're put under too much pressure at work, you have to you take a sabbatical, straight up. And maybe you lose, like, influence. Um, so then we move into experiencing the park proper. GM takes what chat gives them along with what's already been planned, weighing in the personal agendas of the PCs. PCs as hosts, so like you take some of those NPCs that you created during the planning step, attempt to act out the proposed narrative of the storyline, and that's your actual play. Because I mean, how many people really want to like always roleplay the boardroom or the office? I don't think it's nearly as many people as they might think. Um, and then this is where the GM and Twitch are most active within the game. Because everything else, basically, is going to be fallout of what happens in this stage. So they both can help or hurt the storyline, but not the campaign storyline, but the in-game storyline that's great. This is fucking meta as shit. Why did I do this? Oh my god. The in-game storyline as created by the player characters, not the storyline created by the players. Twisted potentially turn the park into something else. So you might start off having like fulfill your mafia fantasies in Mafia World. And like people can come to this place, they can basically play Mafia 3 IRL, but never have to worry about getting hurt. But like somebody somewhere finds a way to like romance this one character, and they post about it on Instagram and it goes viral, and you're like, that character was supposed to be revealed as something else later on, but now we can't go with that storyline. If we want to keep making money, we gotta make this work. And you change everything. I think that is most representative of like what I want to be, that middle, actually playing out the part to be like. Like, some dude finds a way to romance Nikki. There's no, like, if, spoiler alert, if you've not played Mafia 3, please cover your ears, or take off your headphones, whatever. So in Mafia 3, Nikki is not straight. She is very not straight. But someone, somewhere, is like, I go to Mafia World and I want to romance her because she's, I don't know, my sweet Irish crime princess. They figure it out, they find some exploit, and they post about it, and everyone's like, well, there we go. Let's just fucking do this. Like, the park was never about romance in the first place. And now you have people that come in week after week and they're romancing this character. And you can either change something about her behavior that makes it so that they can't even attempt anymore, or like you roll with it. And most of the motivators are probably going to be money. So yeah, basic moves. Take a deep breath instead of, hold on, let's do that? Yeah. We'll put Apocalypse World side by side with it again. Alright, basic moves. So, like, take a deep breath as opposed to act under fire. And I think I'm gonna need to find better ways to, like, define these moves. Because I think in actual play, you'll have... Maybe I'll make this basic office moves. And then basic toast moves, I guess. I don't know. Okay, cool. I can't pull down that drop down. There we go. Alright, so take a deep breath as opposed to act under fire. When faced with difficulties that may truly test your limits or push you beyond them, roll plus some stat, which we're gonna figure out what stats are today. On a 10 plus, the breath makes you... the breath you take calms your mind and body, so you can focus. On a 7 and 9, you're capable, but there are obvious complications. Obviously complications. But some shit here eventually about what the fuck that even means. Just, like, eventually you figure out, like, roll to 7 and 9 to take a deep breath when, like, you're on a coding crunch, because, like, metrics came back from Twitch / like your growing audience demographic, and they liked this thing that you did not plan or code for at all. So you roll to take a deep breath, go ahead and pull yourself an all-nighter, or, like, get as much done as you can. Like, you're able to code it, you got the, like, storyline that creative wrote working, but there's some things that are like, like, they're not quite as full or developed, or there's some complication. Let's change that. There are some complications. On a miss, you wonder if those mandatory seminars were ever worth... Wow, what was I trying to say? On a miss, you wonder if those mandatory seminars are worth anything. And you should prepare for the worst. Find leverage when you look for leverage against a person or in a situation that you may later exploit and manipulate. A roll plus that. On a 10 plus, you can ask the MC or player 3 questions. On a 7 and 9, ask 1. On a miss, you must answer 1 for the MC or player. Manipulate a person or situation. Utilizing some form of leverage you've acquired to code a person into your way of thinking. This should be a comma, roll plus stat. For NPCs on a 10 plus, they've been convinced enough to go along with your plans until something or someone can convince them otherwise. On a 7 and 9, they'll require something from you in return before following your lead. For PCs, on a 10 plus, you can offer them either experience or +1 leverage, I think, against you. On a 7 to 9, you must offer both. For situations, 10 plus, you should change to can find and make swift use of an exploitable point. On a 7 and 9. You can either openly exploit the moment or gain +1 leverage on one PC or NPC involved. On a miss for all of these, be prepared for things to come back to you. Gain insights as opposed to opening your brain to the psychic maelstrom. When you look at the graphs, facts, and figures that detail the inner workings of the park to gain insights, roll plus stat, describe what you're looking for. On a hit, the MC drops some fucking knowledge on that ass. On a 10 plus, the MC gives you good details that can act as leverage with statistics to back them up. This doesn't need to be directed at a PC or MP. Wow. Okay. NPC. On a 7 and 9, the MC gives impressions that can lead to leverage. On a miss, there are holes in the data, and it just doesn't quite add up. What on earth could you have stumbled upon? So, for the gain insights move, as it relates to Westworld, basically, spoiler alert again, Ellie, the cute little, like, coder/engineer that was working for Bernard, rolled to gain insight when, like, trying to figure out all the things that were weird with the park, and, like, just kept rolling 7 and 9s and misses, and eventually her boss turned out to be a robot. That's what I mean with gaining insight. It's not always literally looking at facts and figures. Sometimes it's just figuring things out that you shouldn't be able to figure out. It's asking the GM for help. Assist and air quotes assist. I like the mechanic, so I don't think it's gonna change very much, but basically you roll to either add +1 or +2 to someone else's roll, or to subtract 1 or 2 from someone's roll. So rapport is basically hex. At the end of every session, choose one character who knows you better than they did at the start. If there's more than one, choose at your whim. If they or you feel you know them better as well, both gain +1 rapport. Otherwise, they gain +2. And they just know you better. If this brings them to +5, they reset to +1 and can either gain leverage or experience. If no one knows you better, choose a character who doesn't know you quite as well as they thought, or anyone at your whim. They take -1. This brings them to -5. They reset to 0 and gain experience. Alright, so now we'll get to the bulk of what today was supposed to be about, or is supposed to be about. Though, I think we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna have a little stretch. And I'll be back in like 3 minutes, because I also need to refill my water. Burp. Okay, now we're back. And I think my playlist stopped. Hold on. Nope, nope, it's still going. Okay. So, gonna define these playbooks and just what they're capable of. There we go. Alright, so the narrative designer they will write and create storylines for the park/attraction that help pull in audience. Visual, like most of these are actually, like I didn't mean it entirely intentionally when I started naming them, but they're pulled from video games. It's like what you would do within a studio, a small studio. Alright, so visual designer. Brings the, whoops. Affects the mannerisms of characters in the frameworks made by the programmer. Molds the characters of the narrative designer. Basically, they're character designers, giving them nuance and variation. Scopes the visuals of the park/attraction on every level. And that's what all their moves are about. Programmer. So the programmer creates the framework on which the narrative designer. You know what? I don't like this. I'm gonna change this to creates the sandbox, which is the narrative designer, and visual designer play. giving it distinct boundaries. Determines just how, basically how much you can change. I don't know the right word for it. But basically, like, determines how much you can, what you can, like, do with your host NPCs. I just gotta figure out the right word to say that. Far you can push the host. Then the confines of their code. The administrator acts as a filter between the... I gave this a name. I totally gave this a name, like, last time. But the GM, who is also, like, your board of directors. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it board of directors. Between the board of directors and wow, GM and the players. I don't know how to further define them. Like, that's who they are, but what do they do? Alright, we're gonna move on to public relations. Is the public relations is the administrator to the audiences board. They, I don't know, they're basically governing, like, how much information actually gets to the general public. So, okay. Controlling the general public sees of the park and how. Spinning everything to be within its best possible light. Financier. Use money in large amounts to fix the park's problems. without truly... Basically, the financier is the Maestro D. Like, they can wheel and deal and get you help that you need. They can't do anything themselves, not really. So without being able to do much themselves. They wheel and deal and use the jargon. But aren't truly a part of the organism that is the park / attraction. Alright, and I know I suggested another playbook up here. Alright, oh, the board representative. I don't know if I want that to be... I don't know if I want that to be, like, a thing, per se. Let's see. So we've got your, like, core creative team, which is the narrative designer, the visual designer, and the programmer. And then you have, like, your office, like your administrative kind of non-creative team that's still necessary, and the administrator, public relations, and financier. But then the question is, do I want to make a playbook that's playing against potentially everyone else? We're gonna put this in square brackets. Board representative is the board's mouthpiece and represents their interests. Well, abstaining from getting their hands dirty as much as possible. I feel like this is basically the brainer. Like, I thought public relations would be the brainer, but they're not. The board representative would be the brainer equivalent. Like, public relations. Oh, I think I should totally put in what they care most about. So, the narrative designer wants to create the most engaging stories possible within the park. So basically, like, the epitome of narrative designer, like, both getting what they want and not getting what they want, would be the dude from Westworld, where he had this whole long, like, soliloquy for Hector to give, and then basically the audience makes a move. Hector gets shot 5 seconds into his speech. And he ends up like cutting it because that wasn't the engaging part. So the visual designer will make it that, and the visual designer wants to make the part a treat to look at. To draw the eye to details at every turn. So the visual designer wants you to look at all their hard work. It's like there was a concept artist that, like, I was listening to an interview with them, and they were talking about how they had a friend that ended up working at, like, PbtA, I think, on The Lord of the Rings. And this person that, like, ended up working at, or no, not at PbtA, at ILM as a 3D artist. And they were like, dude, I got some rocks in The Lord of the Ring. You need to see these rocks. And this concept artist was like, dude, you're excited over rocks. You are legitimately excited that you have rocks in the Lord of the Rings movie. Yes, you also have these credits, but you have rocks. And, like, for me, that felt really, really, like, fucked up and disingenuous. Like, let them be excited about the fucking rocks. Let them be happy that they've, like, gotten some small piece into this giant world. So this visual designer playbook, it's to you, rocks and Lord of the Rings dude. Because I know, like, having something that you touched be a part of a world that engaging it's big. It feels big, even if no one else thinks so. Alright, so programmer. So programmer wants to push the boundaries of the available technology to create something truly unique and one of a kind. Hey, one of a kind. Okay, wow. Alright, the administrator wants to balance the ideals of the creative departments with the bottom line of the board to make something memorable, safe, and profitable. Which is totally going to end up in conflict. Like, the administrator might actually be the most conflicted because you want it to be memorable so that people come back, but you also want it to be safe so that people come back without worrying about their lives. And profitable, which, I mean, if it's memorable, it's probably not safe, but it'll be profitable. If it's safe, it's not memorable, so it's probably not profitable, but it might be safe and profitable. And if it's profitable, it might not be memorable. Alright. I still don't know. See. So the administrator acts as a filter between the board of directors and the GM and the players. So I think takes the objectives of the board and helps to weave them into something desirable and usable for the other players. Basically, the ultimate support. Yeah, the administrator is the ultimate support. Public relations. What does public relations want? Wants to burn the park into people's memories and keep them coming back time and again. Did I remember to unmute myself? Yes, I did. Okay. The financier wants to further line their pockets to be ready to back the next great thing. Alright, so the board representative is the mouthpiece of the board and represents their interests while abstaining from getting their hands dirty as much as possible. So uses words and sometimes no. Uses manipulation to push the efforts of the other players to best align with the board's end goals. Wants to create the I don't know how I want to say this. I know that they want to I guess they basically want to fulfill the whims of the board as completely as possible. Alright, so we've got narrative designer, visual designer, programmer, administrator, public relations, and a board representative. So that's 6 playbooks. How many does Apocalypse World even have again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the original. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 9 from the original. 12 total. And I'm at 6. Alright. What else? I think we can take the square quotes away from the board representative. They're just a brainer. I don't know. Maybe there actually aren't any other playbooks, and it's just how you choose to build yours that makes it further different and pushes it. So yeah. Let's look over some of our potential mechanics. And then I think once I do that, we're gonna be done. I'm gonna switch over to something else. Which reminds me. Hey Gabe. How's it going? Good, good. Nice, nice. By the way, stream, Gabe's playing Diablo. Wait, what did you... Oh, the butcher pet. Yeah, it actually doesn't take that long, it's just tedious. But I think I'm gonna, like, work a little bit more on, like, my basic mechanics for this game. But then we could do something. I don't know what the something will be, but we could do something. Ooh. That's both good and not good. But yeah, you want to hear some of my playbooks for my Westworld Powered by the Apocalypse game? Okay, so we got the narrative designer, who writes all the shit for the park. The visual designer, who, like, actually designs the characters and locations and blah 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 blah. The programmer, who makes the framework that both the narrative and visual designers work in. The administrator that acts as a go-between between the board of directors / GM and the players, and is trying to, like, keep both happy while making the park money. Public relations, that's all about, like, spinning news about the park. The financier, who just throws money at problems that's probably going to make more problems, but it solves the immediate one. And the board representative, who is literally just, like, they're the brainer. Like, they are the board of directors for the game incarnate, and will do as much as they can to make it happy. So yeah, that's what I got so far for playbooks. Alright, stream. Let's look at these potential mechanics. Leverage, which is basically strings for monster hearts. Barter, something like barter. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Maybe, no, not bank, because I keep calling everything bank. Hey Gabe, question for you. Alright, so basically I want to make something like barter or coin, but I don't know what to call it. And my brain keeps saying call it bank, but I called it bank and misbehaving. And I keep calling everything bank because that's just what my brain thinks of. But what would you call it? Maybe salary? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna call it salary. Maybe if I make a variation of the PR person that's like just social media maven. Yeah. Yeah, the entire like look of it changes. It's technically still like the same shape as the other playbook like sheets, but everything is just ridiculous. It has like gifs on it. There's no way that's actually viable, no. Alright. Ooh, wait, I've got an even better one. Expenditures. So, outside gigs are gonna get called freelance. I still don't know if it's actually gonna be a thing. Actually, since I don't know if it's gonna be a thing, I'll put it there like that. That's barter, just so I remember. Seasonal advances. I'm gonna go with the obvious and call them promotions. Lifestyle. Yeah, lifestyle is gonna be determined by tags chosen for the park. Tags chosen for perk. Salary. And player choice. Because, I mean, you could have someone that makes a ton of money, but doesn't spend it. I need to turn this down. Whoops. There we go. Player choice. Harm and healing is definitely gonna be a social thing. So I think it's gonna be reputation and how do I wanna like make healing? It would be basically you fixing. I think I'm gonna call it damage control. Yeah, reputation and damage control. That I think makes the most sense. Alright. If you take hits to your reputation from a move, can later pair it by doing some damage control. Maybe it can. Maybe give it tags / conditions that affect rolls. All blades. Well, it's more like the unholy love child of Blades and Monster Hearts. So let's make a note of that. Starter session stuff, highlighting stats, certain playbook moves. I think there's gonna be an audience move. I want to put this in order so I remember that. So, let's see. Highlighting stats, playbook moves, outside gigs, an audience move, and an optional GM move. Like lifestyle. And I think the question I need to answer for myself about lifestyle is this lifestyle in the same way as Westworld 2E? Or is this something different? More like Blades? Are they just tags? What in the ever-loving fuck? Is this? Because I don't, like, if you have a good enough GM, you actually don't need the lifestyle move from Apocalypse World, which is something that, spoiler alert, also got discussed after the Roll 20%'s Apocalypse World 2nd edition. Okay. So, the park. It's its own physical location. In this order. So basically, if the PCs have nothing that they can go after, even after all of the things that happen, then the GM can be like, okay, you guys need to do this to actually, like, get the ball rolling. The park will probably get its own special. Its own special moves. I think the GM and player moves. And threat stuff, which is really more GM moves. So the offices is the bureaucracy of the park more than the physical place. And I think this will get just GM moves. GM moves and threats. Alright, so the flashback mechanic. How much does this change from Blades? Or not from Blades. From Apocalypse World 2E. I think one big question is, if someone only needs a +1, for instance, or a -1 to move, like, down a success level. Let me if a player only needs a plus or minus 1 to have their success level changed, but are given more help to no is something else gained for rolling well. Alright, so basic host moves. It's basically just further group basic moves for the players. Okay, and I think that's that for further mechanics that I've realized that I need. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I don't want to make this too long of a video, like VOD, so yeah. Thank you to anyone that showed up for the stream, whether you're lurking or not. Thanks for being here. So if you want to know more about this game, you can go to my Patreon, which is patreon.com/MADPIERROT. It's my name, MadPuro. I mean, that's technically not my name, but that's me. You can also follow me on Twitter, it's the same thing, MadPuro. Tumblr is mostly for like art and sketches, and that's basically it. Patreon and Twitter are the best places to follow me and keep up with all of my like crazy nonsense. You'll also know like when I go live, all that stuff. It's good times. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. I think we're gonna switch over games in just a second here. There's not going to be any sound because me and Gabe are gonna figure out what the fuck we're gonna play. So yeah, that's it. Be back in a sec.